Hi everyone, this video is for 6th grade lesson 36 of the Elevate group. Today's lesson is on adding, subtracting, and multiplying decimals. So there are 3 operations that students are going to work with all in one day around decimals, specifically utilizing area models and place value charts. Okay, so because they are going to be working on 3 different operations, you are going to be doing at least 3 models for each, well, 1 model for each of those operations. The first one is on how to multiply a whole number by a decimal using the area model. And you can decide whether your teacher move is that you want to model for them what multiplication looks like and then release them to work only on the multiplication questions, then do a model of subtraction, release them to do subtraction so that they're not confused, so on and so forth, right? So this question asks you to multiply 3 times 1.7 or 1 7/10, right? So all we are going to do is, beauty is that we have our area model already partitioned for us, so we're just responsible for the shading piece. So all we are doing is we are shading 1 whole and then 7 of the tenths, but we have to do that 3 times, right? This is 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Then we are figuring out, okay, well, how many do we have all together? Well, I see here that we have 1 whole, 2 wholes, and then 3 wholes, okay? And then I have to count how many sevenths I have. I have 1 7th, 2 7ths, and 3 7ths. Students should know that 3 times 7 gives you 21. So you have 3 wholes and 21 tenths, right? But in any specific place value, let me go ahead and write permanently so you can see that. In any place value chart, tenths, ones. The issue with saying that we have 3 wholes and 21 tenths is that there are now 2 digits within the tenths place. Because we cannot have that, what we need to do is we need to regroup this 2 tenths, or yes, we need to regroup this 20 tenths as 2 ones. So what we really have, because 3 plus 2 is 5, what we really have is 5 and 1/10, which is written like that, okay? So you will model this multiplication for them. The other multiplication model that you will have to do for students, sorry about the noise. The other multiplication that you will have to do for students is question B for this lesson. The difference between the first question we modeled and this question right here is that both of our multiplicand are decimals. So we will have to show students how this model is different from the model we just did, right? We cannot show 3 tenths 0.8 times. Or sorry, we cannot show 3 tenths 8 tenths time. So basically what we are going to do is in one area model, we are going to model the 3 tenths. Same 3 tenths that are right here. And then in another model, we are going to model the 8 tenths in the opposite direction. So one was going horizontally, the other one is vertically. Now, how do we find an answer from having this model right here. What we can identify, and for teachers who have taught fifth grade as well, the fifth grade Elevate lessons, this is the same as when students were multiplying fractions, right? Fractions can be rewritten as decimals. Decimals can be rewritten as fractions. So this is the same exact model for that lesson. What we can identify is when these two area models overlap like this, what we see is that 24 parts out of 100 total parts are overlapping. So our answer, because we're working with decimals, is 24 hundredths. Okay? Now, so that's the one model. Those are the two models that you are going to do for multiplication. And then for the lesson on subtraction and addition, you are going to work on letter A and letter B. Some students may be able to already solve letter A, so you definitely can release them into maybe a 2-minute turn and talk to see what type of model they believe correlates with 1.7 plus 1.1, 1 and 7/10 plus 1 and 1/10, by using these steps right here, right? So they're going to go ahead and in one part of the model, shade in 1 whole and 7/10. And then in the other part of the model, they are going to shade in 1 entire whole and only 1/10. Now, students may struggle to figure out how to add these two. Feel free to use the resource page with the place value chart at the back so that students can line up their decimals and say, okay, well, I have 1.7 and 1.1 together, that gives me 2.8. And then the same thing can be said for the subtraction piece. You are actually going to model what number 2 looks like only, okay? So we are going to start out with our first number, shade in 4 entire parts, 4 entire wholes. So 4 wholes in addition to 7/10. And then it tells us to take away 2 wholes. So these are the 2 wholes that I took away. In addition to 6/10. So crossing out 6 of these. What we realize, is that we have 2 wholes left. And then if students shade correctly, they will see that they had 1/10 left. So our answer is 2 and 1/10. So after you have modeled these 4 different operations for students, you definitely can release them to the different parts of their independent practice time. You will have to identify the specific questions because they're all on different pages. So students on their own will be working on questions 3 to 6, which focuses on addition and subtraction, and then they'll be working on questions 2 to 7, which are all multiplication. However, they should also be working on question 1 because it allows them to work on a model as well.